Hi everyone, this is Jason from Edulogics, where we tell you all the information you need to start your career abroad. If you're planning to start your nursing or midwifery career in Australia in 2025, then this video will be very useful for you. AHPRA, or Australian Health Practitioner Regulation Agency, has done some major changes in the requirement of English language for overseas nurses. And in our today's video, I'll be explaining those changes to you. Before I go ahead, I would like you to request to our channel. The YouTube algorithm tells us that 90% of you who watch our channel regularly have not subscribed. It's completely free, so I would highly request you to subscribe to our channel. And now let's move on to our today's video. Nursing and Midwifery Board of Australia and AHPRA are implementing a new English language standard for overseas nurses, which will be effective from April 2025. It applies to all the nurses who are applying for initial registration in Australia. So fundamentally, there are three ways to prove your English language proficiency to get registered in Australia. The first pathway is through an English language test pathway. So NMBA and AHPRA accept scores of your IELTS, OET, and PTE mainly. They also accept other exams like Cambridge Proficiency and TOEFL IBT. But the most common exams taken by overseas nurses are generally IELTS, OET, and PTE. So if you talk about IELTS Academic is the exam that overseas nurses have to write to get their nursing license in Australia. Now, as per the new standard, you will need an overall 7 for your IELTS examination, apart from which in your listening, reading, and speaking, you are still required to have overall 7. The big change here is that for writing, they have reduced the score to 6.5, which will definitely bring a major relief to nurses. For writing, it was earlier required that you must have 7, and now since it's 6.5, it is much more achievable for overseas nurses. The second common exam, which is the OET, or Occupational English Language Test, here also there are some good changes. For OET, you need to get B for your listening, reading, and speaking, but for your writing, earlier it was B and now it is C+. Now, last but not the least, let's talk about PTE examination, Pearson Test of English Examination. And now for PTE, you need an overall score of 66. Earlier it was 65, so they have increased 1 marks for your overall score required. Now it is 66. Similarly, for your listening, reading, and speaking, they have increased 1 point. Now you need 66 each. Apart from that, for your writing, the score has been reduced to 56. So earlier you were required to have 65 each in your listening, reading, speaking, and writing, which has now been changed. Please note the change once again. Now, if you're taking PTE, you need overall 66. For your listening, reading, and speaking, also you need 66 each. And for your writing, 56 will be acceptable. If you are someone who's taking the TOEFL exam or the Cambridge examination, then there are some variations, and I will leave the link to the document which explains the variations in the description box below. You can check it out. So the big change here is that scores can now be combined within 2 sittings within a period of 12 months. Earlier it was 6 months, but now it has been increased to 12 months. Please understand, still you need to get the score within 2 sittings. You also need to ensure that if you are clubbing your scores within a period of 12 months, then your overall score need to remain as per the standard for each of the sitting. I think this also is a very good move, and it will be useful for nurses who are unable to get the score within 6 months, but now the increased time will give them little more relief and help. The exam validity still remains 2 years, so whenever you submit your scores, you need to ensure that the results are valid, and it should not be more than 2 years that you have got the examination results. The next pathway are basically the study pathway, which are called the primary language pathway, and there is no change in this pathway. This is basically for those who have done their qualification from an English speaking country. So if you're taking a primary language pathway, you must have completed 6 years of primary and secondary education in a recognized English speaking country. AHPRA has introduced some changes in the list of English speaking countries. They've added few more countries, and I will leave the link in the description box below, and you can check whether your country is in the new list. If you're taking this pathway, you also need to ensure that your nursing or midwifery qualification should also be in English, and it has to be proved that it has been taught and assessed solely in English. The next pathway, or the third pathway, is called 5-year continuous education pathway. If English is not your primary language, but still you have studied your secondary or your tertiary qualification or even vocational education in English in a recognized country, you can use the 5-year continuous education pathway. And again here, as I mentioned before, recognized country list has been modified. So make sure you check it out. Okay, so the important thing that you need to remember is that this standard is only effective from 1st April 2025. And if you're applying for your licensure before the 1st April 2025, you will need to meet the older standard. That's it for our today's video, friends. I hope this video was useful for you and you are now up to date with the changes that APRA has made in terms of their English language requirement. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comment section, or you can also contact us on our WhatsApp number or email us. I'll leave all the links and details in the description box below. Thank you once again. Stay safe and stay happy.